Students also get really confused with control treatments, and every single scientific experiment, a properly run scientific experiment, you're going to have a control treatment, and that's because you want to have something that you are comparing your experiment to. You're comparing the change. If there was a change, you want to compare and take that into consideration. So how do you describe a control treatment then? A control treatment is when the independent variable, remember that the IV is what you change or manipulate in the experiment, so the independent variable is either eliminated completely or sometimes you can't eliminate it, so then you set it at a standard value in your control treatment. You set it at a standardized, we just did the standardized section you guys should have before coming to this section, so you set it at a standard value. Maybe that's a pH of 7 for all of your different samples in your experiment. You set it at a, because you can't get rid of pH entirely, a substance is going to have a pH, so you set something at a standard value. If you can, you would eliminate the IV completely. So let's actually work through a problem where you guys see where you would describe a control treatment. So an investigator studies the effect of different spices on growth of food, spoiling bacteria. I like to define my groups first. In fact, now at this point of the lab, I want you guys to define, you don't have to in this section, but I really want you guys to define your DV and your IV. What's your dependent variable? What's your independent variable? Because that's going to help you design your control treatment. So let's go ahead and do that and do it in a different color. Okay, so an investigator studies the effect of different spices on growth of food spoiling bacteria. Those are the two groups that I'm studying. In fact, different spices is your independent variable because you are manipulating the kind of spices that you're using. Maybe you're using clove, maybe you're using black pepper, maybe you're using chili. Those are different spices that you're adding in your experiment. So you are manipulating what kind of spice is being added. Then you are assessing, got rid of that, you're assessing growth of food spoiling bacteria. Is growth going to be promoted or is it going to be inhibited by those different spices? That's the dependent variable. The independent variable, the kind of spice, is going to affect that value. Okay, so what's your control treatment? Well, the control treatment is going to be where the independent variable is either eliminated completely or set at a standard value. In this scenario, you can just get rid of the IV. So your control treatment would be control treatment would be no spices. Just don't add a spice. You would not add a spice and then keep everything else the same, your standardized variable, the same petri dish, the same growth agar that you're using to grow that bacteria, but just don't add a spice and then see how bacteria, food spoiling bacteria in particular, grows. No spices would be the control treatment for that sample.